Hey everybody, Stephanie here, and this is my presentation for Module 5 on TPACK, the Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge Assessment for Teachers. So again, hi, my name is Stephanie Godwin Russell. I am an Instructional Systems Design and Technology student at Sam Houston State University, and I am a middle school librarian in Austin, Texas. So this presentation is going to focus on TPACK, and the questions I'm going to answer are: what is technological pedagogical content knowledge, or TPACK? What led to the development of this framework? What are the domains? Defining each domain and giving an example. Why do we need to care about TPACK? What are the ways to measure TPACK? What's the most common way to measure TPACK? What are some limitations for this approach? How can we develop teachers' TPACK? And what are the implications we can draw from the TPACK framework for designing technology professional development? So, TPACK is a framework for thinking about the knowledge teachers need for making instructional decisions with respect for integrating digital technologies as learning tools. So, it's basically how teachers have to think about their planning in using technology in their classroom. And it's more than just, oh, I'm going to have the students make a Google Doc talking about what they learned today, but it's knowing what tools to use with what content. What digital tool will allow the students to fully grasp the content, and how that in turn will allow the teacher to demonstrate that they know their content as well as knowing what digital tools work best when. And it builds on content knowledge and teacher understanding of educational technology and how they interact. There was previously surveys and teacher assessments that were purely based on content knowledge or purely based on teachers using technology in the classroom, and this is how they do both. You can see the TPACK domains here. I love this illustration. It shows how everything works together. So TPACK is not just one thing, it's kind of everything. And those domains are content knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, technology knowledge, technological content knowledge, technological pedagogical knowledge, and technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. So it's how they all mix. So where teachers now are um, assessed, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but they are um, evaluated on their ability to have classroom management, or on their knowledge of their classroom, or how, if they are using technology in the classroom, and this would evaluate them on the whole process. So content knowledge in the case of art appreciation would include just exactly that, knowing what your content knowledge is. So for an art appreciation teacher, it would be knowing art history, famous paintings, sculptures, artists, and their historical context, etc. This would be a math teacher knowing math, the social studies, knowing what specific they're going to be teaching. So a Texas history teacher knowing Texas history, a math teacher knowing how to fully develop those concepts in students, a reading teacher knowing phonics and the phonemes. I don't remember the words from when I was a reading teacher, but knowing how to teach that. Pedagogical knowledge is when a teacher understands how students construct knowledge. So it's how to teach, and it's knowing the cognitive, social, and developmental theories of learning and how they apply to students in the classroom. So for this would be my best example is a kindergarten teacher knowing that students come with knowledge. They don't come in as blank. They come in already knowing some things, but they come in also not knowing things, and knowing that in kindergarten, they're just learning how to be social, they're just learning friends, they're just learning how to wash their hands. So it's knowing how to teach them also how to interact with each other, as well as how to teach the content. So pedagogy is kind of your classroom management as well as your content. So it's how you're teaching. Pedagogical content knowledge is how teacher interprets the subject matter and find ways to represent it, and tailors the instructional materials to alternative conceptions and students' prior knowledge. So this is how the teacher teaches. It's less the classroom management and it's more how you're teaching the material. So in this, it would be how, let's say, a science teacher finds different ways to teach something. So, for example, buoyancy, more than just dropping something into water and seeing if it floats, but giving multiple examples of how that works. It would be also how they find different materials to teach that. So, having a digital way to do it, having a paper way to do it, having a way to do it with your hands. So, this is also where teachers are going to have to rely on their differentiation abilities. Technology knowledge, I thought it was really important to add that Kohler and Mishra also said that it is very difficult to define. So, their definition is that it requires a deeper, more essential understanding and mastery of information technology for information processing, communication, and problem solving than does the traditional definition of computer literacy. Acquiring technology knowledge in this manner enables a person to accomplish a variety of different tasks using information technology and to develop different ways of accomplishing a given task. So I think this is perfect for librarians because we do more than just teach computer literacy. We teach information literacy, we teach news literacy, media literacy. We teach digital tools, we teach all kinds of things. And so I think that this is a really great example of librarians and how we do so much more. And in this case, my example would be a librarian bringing in, for example, what I'm currently working on, working with our AVID class, which is a school and study strategies class where the students are learning strategies for success. And so I have brought these students in and taken their research project that was just going to be on doing their career research. And now I am teaching them how to do the entire research process, but within their specific project. So everybody's project is going to be different, but I am teaching them the research process. And along the way, we're learning citations, we're learning journals, we're learning where to find good sources. And so in that, it's more than just that simple computer literacy, but it's the whole of information technology and literacy. Technological content knowledge in this one is where teachers need to know more than the subject matter they teach. They have to have a deep understanding of the manner in which the subject matter can be changed by the application of particular technologies. Teachers need to understand which specific technologies are best suited for addressing subject matter learning in their domains and how the content dictates or perhaps even changes the technology or vice versa. So, in my example for this one, I am going to say this would be great to demonstrate a writing teacher teaching students how to write an essay. So they know how to write an essay, right? The teachers know how to teach it. They know how to teach a student to write your usual 5-paragraph essay. You've got your introduction, you've got your 3 supporting paragraphs, and then you've got your conclusion. But now it's teaching them how to form your thesis, how to form those talking points, and then knowing how, when you're teaching your students how to write the essay, how instead of writing it out by hand, how using a laptop or using any type of word processing resource is going to change that entire process, because now students are going to have a way to check their grammar, have a spell check. They're going to have to not worry about their hands getting tired or needing pencils. And it's going to change the way they think and they process, because if a writing teacher teaches the students to brainstorm and then plan their essay on paper, that's also going to have to change how they teach them to do the same skills on a laptop or any type of technology. So technological pedagogical knowledge is where teachers need to reject functional fixedness and develop skills to look beyond most common uses for technologies, reconfiguring them for customized pedagogical purposes. So this would require a forward-looking and open-minded seeking of technology. So my example here would be a teacher who normally would use let's say Flipgrid. They use Flipgrid as a reflection tool. And the students already know every time they do an assignment afterwards, they're going to have to make a 2 to 3 minute reflection in Flipgrid. But it's having that teacher be able to think about how else can you use that tool, having the students communicate on each other. Some things that I would encourage that teacher to do would be maybe have the students have to ask each other questions about their reflection. Have students read their own writing in it and then give each other feedback. Even do something fun like share their favorite book, do a book talk, and then draw something that illustrates how they felt about a scene or showed their own thought of a scene and how they thought it could go, and then talk to each other about that within Flipgrid. So it's that teacher knowing how to take a regular tool and use it for something else, use it for something that's going to change the way your students think, how they are going to develop those concepts, and how they're going to develop their skills. So it's being constantly learning and constantly honing your skills as a teacher in technology. And finally, your last domain is technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. So it's that tiny little one in the middle, right here, this little dimension or area, sorry. And TPACK is the basis of effective teaching with technology. It requires an understanding of the representation of concepts using technologies, pedagogical techniques that use technologies in constructive ways to teach content, knowledge of what makes concepts difficult or easy to learn, and how technology can help redress some of the problems that students face. Knowledge of students' prior knowledge and theories of epistemology, and knowledge of how technologies can be used to build on existing knowledge to develop new epistemologies or strengthen old ones. So it's taking everything we just talked about and putting it together. And in this, again, I'm going to say it's a librarian because we have to know what curriculum students are learning. We have to know what they've already learned in the past and how technology is going to help them to learn the concepts that we're trying to get them to learn, as well as knowing what we're going to teach ahead of time. So it's applying the pedagogy, it's applying your content, and it's applying technology and making it all work together. Why do we need to care about this? So, the TPACK framework seeks to assist the development of better techniques for discovering and describing how technology related professional knowledge is implemented and instantiated in practice. And by better describing the types of knowledge teachers need, educators are in a better position to understand the variance in levels of technology integration occurring. And basically, what this means is we should care about it because teachers need to, as I said earlier, continue to hone and make those skills better and develop their own learning. And so, as teachers better teach, the students learn better. And when we use TPACK, the teachers can see where their areas of need are and improve them. So the most commonly used method of measuring teachers' TPACK is by self-reporting. And in the Kohler et al. Article, it said that, self-reporting measures are where participants are asked to rate the degree to which they agree to a given statement. But the limitations for this are going to be different for every teacher. So an instrument designed for a chemistry teacher is going to be different than an instrument designed for a music teacher. And I agree with that because on my campus, we have so many different subjects, so many different electives that each teacher is going to have to think about their own content. And so a reading teacher isn't going to be able to measure their TPACK against a science teacher. It's going to be different. And other methods of measuring TPACK include open-ended questionnaires, performance assessments, interviews, and observations. I chose to make a chart of this part because I thought there were too many and I didn't want to miss anything. I thought they were all important to say that teachers' TPACks can be developed in lots of different ways. And your authors of articles are on the left, and how they thought teachers could develop their TPAC are on the right. So these are all examples that I saw within the Nice article. So Robler and Doring thought that teachers' TPAC could be developed by self-assessment and reflection. Mishra et al. Said learning by design in stages and reflection at the end with macro and micro design. Nice said content and technology approaches. Growth et al. Said collaborative lesson studies. Hughes and Sharber said metacognitive exploration. I'm sorry, I put exploration. Dawson and Pearson said teacher action research. Mauza and Wong said case development where teachers learn from their own practices. And Angeli and Valenide said technology mapping and peer assessment are all ways that teachers can develop their TPAC. Implications that we can draw from the TPACK framework for designing professional development are that this is a way for teachers to look at something as complex as technology integration and make it more than just, I'm going to have the students do a project on the computer. It's how, and it's allowing teachers to see where their areas of need are, and it's going to help them to really make their teaching better. And so the TPACK framework offers possibilities for promoting research in teacher education, teacher professional development, and teachers' use of technology. And so in all of the research that I read about TPACK in the articles that I used for this project. It was really interesting that so much is being done to further teacher education, and it gives me a lot of hope for future teachers. That is my project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or find me at my website on the screen. Have a great day. Bye.